Hi friends, so today we're gonna be going over REST API. Basically we use REST API to download data from the server. So we basically make a server call and then the server replies to the request and then we can download, update, delete or do like whatever we feel like. So REST API uses the HTTP protocol of get, put, post and delete. Uh, so what exactly REST API? REST API uses RESTful services to get the response from the server. So for a web server call to be RESTful, it has to satisfy the following constraints and it needs to also use HTTP protocol. The client server stateless cache interface layer system. Client server so basically a consumer can make a request to the server and then the server can reject it or can make a response. Stateless, that means all the information required by the server to respond should be there in the message and then the session data should be returned at the end of each request. Cache, so what happens, so whenever the client makes a request to the server, it goes through a cache component, so which is maintaining a record of your request. Suppose if it sees the request as same, so it can provide the same replies rather than making the server call and getting the same data back. Interface uniform contract, it means that the REST API is to be usable, it has multiple abstract components so that it can talk to each other. Layer system means that the between the server and the client, so there is a transparent layer which helps them to communicate with each other. So we're gonna be using now we have advantages. So before it used to be SOAP services, now it's REST API. So REST API is much more lighter and faster. Second advantage is it can use both JSON format and XML format. So JSON is JavaScript object notation. It is a combination of arrays and dictionaries. So arrays start with square brackets and dictionaries start with curly braces. And with arrays you use this method use object at index, and with dictionaries you use this method use value for key. Okay, so let's get started. So we have the link given over here. I'm gonna have the link in the description. Let's make a new project. REST API try. Okay. So over here I also need to edit my plist because I'm gonna make a HTTP call. Okay. So for making the REST API, we use this class NSURL session, and then this is a singleton class, so we use a shared session. Then we use the method data task with URL. So the URL is, we have the URL NSURL, so we have to make a URL now. Make it capital NSURL URL with string. So now we copy paste the URL. And then we have a block. So inside the block we're gonna have code. So we have this, we close the brackets, and then you also have to say resume, because these because NSURL session is basically to use it to download data or to do the task in the background, and you can also pause it, stop it, or resume. So you always have to say resume before before your task. So now we have these inputs from the inside the block, data and then response. So then we can print out response So now it should make an API in the viewer. So the response is in hexadecimal. No, the data is in hexadecimal and the response is in this format. This is the response basically. JSON code, keep active, and this is the data. So for data, to convert the data, so you can also convert it by, so this is the hexadecimal. Now we have to convert it. So we say, so now if you want to just convert it to a string format, you can just say n string alec init with data encoding NSUTF H string encoding, and just print it out the results. Now say str. So now you have converted the hexa data to human readable format. Okay, this is the data, but now we're gonna, so this is data format because it has strings and arrays. So let's go to internet, let's type JSON viewer, and one thing, this is a JSON, this one online JSON, this one, like with these links you can always copy paste in the browser. This is a reply back, so now copy the data and just paste it over here. When you go to the viewer, so it has organized your data into arrays and dictionaries. So this is a JSON format, so you don't really use the encoding part, so you instead use the Adjacency Realization. So since the first one is a dictionary, so we first pass into a dictionary, so we say n is dictionary start dic, and then you say n is JSON serialization is an object with data, and data you can just simply give data options. Let's choose the, so you paste the error. So now you have successfully copied it into a dictionary. So now you can just ns log the dictionary. So see, you have copied the whole thing into a dictionary. So see, your data, basically you have a dictionary, and the first component is actors, which has, this is the key actors, and the object is a, and the value is an array. So then we have to put it into an array now. So then you say n is array star array, n is array, no, use just instantiate it, and then you say array equals to dict value for key, and the key is actors. So now this will store the whole data into this array. Okay. So if you rerun it, so if you hover on, I want to show you how many parts are there. desktop. So see, the NS array has 6 objects and they are all a dictionary. So the same thing that you just saw. Let's make it same thing you just saw. So NS array, this is a collection of arrays, this dictionary, and now this has 6 dictionaries inside it. So we saw the same thing. This is an array, has 6 objects inside it, and my dictionary has only one object, one key value pair, which is an actor. Key is actor and the value is 6 arrays. So now you have the data inside the array. So now you can just print it out, or you can have the text labels, or then you can just simply like keep on printing it out. So now you can parse it back into, if you want to just print out all the, if you want to just save all the if you just want to print out like all the let's see the details, all the spouse's name. Okay, so you just, since there are 6 objects, so you can just simply say for you can just have a loop int I equal to 0, I less than 6, I plus plus. Then you can just print out ns array object at index I. Then you can just say, since this is a dictionary, then you can just say value value for key. So if you want to go over all the components, so we use this enumeration, which is, so since all the components are dictionary, so we say ns dictionary in array, and then once we are inside over here, so then we can just print it out. If I want to now if I want to just print out the name of the spouse, so I will say value for key, and then you say spouse. Okay, and this should print out all the components. Or then you can also have a table view, and then suppose if this loading thing is like taking a long time, so then you can have GCDs to load, and there can be situations where you have a URL inside a URL, so in those cases you need to use GCD. So guys, so that's it for today. So we learned to how to use what is REST API, what are the constraints to be a RESTful service. We learned about how to make a REST API using NSURL session, and then we saw the JSON format and how do you parse the data using JSON format using NS JSON serialization. So you parse the JSON format data into NS objects. So guys, if you like my video, subscribe to my video, and stay tuned for more videos.